Are we gonna do? Does it hold up?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do it.
Before we start, let's just go ahead and get that out of the way right now. We're gonna try. I got faith in you guys. I have faith in you guys. We can do it.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to do. Next time I come over, we just need to record us three saying it together a few times, and you save it as like a sound cue, and you just plug it in.
Do that. Nah.
No, come on, what? I think it'll work.
Nah, man. I like the idea.
I agree with you.
And then you do the.
I like the idea of it being wrong every time.
I actually really 100% agree with you, Noah, but I also absolutely 100% agree with Alex, so I don't know which one to do. But you know what? We might have to do like a little of both. We might have to record one
It might be good
so that
to
we can
have.
play it.
Yeah.
So that we record one so we can play it, but then it'll sound like we got like an audience almost.
Yeah, it could
You know,
work.
like the whole, like, does it hold up? Like a little house.
Right.
Yeah,
like
we'll do it. And then like there'd be like,
Yeah, we could add all that. Regardless, I'm definitely leaving this conversation into this episode. So we'll let the people decide what to do. Yeah. Nice cold open for you, beautiful nerds. All right.
Sneaky with those cold opens, man. You're sneaky with it.
Hello, you beautiful nerds. I am Jedi Master Grayson.
and I am your boy Bill, and this is
Does it hold
up?
Where we
That was
revisit
probably the best one since.
Where
Nailed
we
it.
revisit classic genre films to, oh yeah, it's perfect. Where we revisit classic genre films to see if they're as good or as bad as we remember. And we might get drunk while we do it. But we can't do it alone. Sometimes,
Nope.
almost all the time.
Yep.
But we can't do it all alone. As always, we are joined by a guest to help us determine if this cult classic stands the test of time. He's an actor, he's a comedian, he's a writer, he's an animator. In fact, he did the animation for the channel, so he's basically a drunk bantha himself. He's been here since day one. Noah Lance, welcome to the show.
What's up, folks?
10 toes down, you know what I'm saying? He hold us down, 10 toes down. That's what I'm talking about. Noah, you don't know her, I don't know her.
We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on.
It's kind of like a We Are Groot's moment. It's like, we don't know her.
We don't know.
Noah's been on the show a couple times. Yeah, he came on to talk about The Last of Us. We talked about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And now we're talking about another ninja movie. We're talking about 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first live action adaptation of the very famous comic book series. This movie had a 41%. Sorry, what were you about to say, Bill?
I just got a new nickname for Noah. It's the third bantha. You know, you have the fifth beetle.
Like the fifth beetle? I'll
There's
be the third band.
Yeah, exactly. He's the third bantha.
I like
it.
it. Yeah.
I like it.
We're going to get t-shirts made where it's just...
The third bantha.
Yeah.
Gonna
Next-
tattoo
I didn't
him.
listen to any.
I'll have to ask you.
I didn't listen to anything you said after like his introduction because I was like, oh, the third bantha. That'd be cool.
I like that.
That'd be cool. And I was like, oh, we're recording.
They're doing a production meeting in your head. Yeah.
I'm with it.
This movie is like pretty well loved. I mean, like the Ninja Turtles themselves are well loved franchise. It's weird how it stood at the test of time. It's been decades and decades. They still keep making movies. They still keep making TV shows.
They do. That they do.
And this movie has a 41% critics rating and 81% audience score, with a critical consensus that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is exactly as advertised. One-liners, brawls, and general silliness. Good for the young at heart, irritating for everyone else. But yeah, that's the critics' decision, and obviously it's a very big discrepancy between the critics and the audience score. But
That's why you come here to this show for the real critics, because everything we say on this channel is real.
Yeah,
it's fact. It's fact.
We have.
There's no. There's no objectivity. It is subjectively correct on this show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
What was the critic score one more time?
Critic score is 41%.
41, and the
audience score was 81%. So it was like almost half. I mean, yeah,
big. That's a big jump.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that discrepancy with the critics rating, especially just like with that time. But this did end up being a very influential movie, I guess, like for the what will come with the 90s, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the movie, let's talk about what our first initial thoughts were, like when we first saw it. Bill, what was like your first like? Do you remember how you felt the first time you saw this movie? Like, and how you felt?
Absolutely. Yep. If I'm not mistaken, we were already in Alabama.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I remember watching it as a little kid and being like, "Man, he just said damn in this movie," and my mama is letting me watch this right now. And is this right? This is okay. Like this might be the coolest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Is my mother making an incorrect moral choice right now? Very philosophical, Bill. Is this right?
It was. Is this
Should
right?
I be here? This is clearly an adult film.
Yes, exactly. That's how I felt. It was like they say damn 3 times within the first like 20 seconds of the movie. I was just like, oh shit, they saying damn, I'm gonna get in trouble. But I'm not in trouble.
It's funny that you say that, just real quick, because were you the one who, like, when Ma took us to see Die Hard with a Vengeance in the theaters, were you the one who were like, it was like, when we were at the box office, it was like, we can't see this movie, we're too young. Mom was like, shut up. It was both of us?
It was both of us.
I couldn't remember.
It was both of us. It was both of us. We were like, we're not supposed to be able to. We're not supposed.
Hey, you just made the rules. My mom was just like, I'm not missing this movie. Like, John McClane is at it again.
She was like, you can see this movie because I'm here, so you can see it.
Right? Yeah, like them's the rules.
Them's is the rules.
But what about you, Noah? Do you remember your first time watching this movie? Like, was it big for you growing up?
Yeah, I always remember growing up and thinking about the movie. I don't know how old I was when I saw it, or if I don't really remember seeing it in theaters. When did this come out?
1990. So yeah, you would have been.
I was literally 1 year old.
Yeah.
I was like probably not even a whole year old yet. So when I did see it, I was probably, they probably showed it to me on VHS or something when I was like 5 or 6. Or something
right.
Like that.
Yeah.
I remember loving it, thinking it was awesome. Watching it now, I have different opinions.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was like one of those things. I was like, I knew I've seen it before, and I was expecting to get hit with a lot of nostalgia. But I think it's because I was so young that it didn't actually hit me that hard. There was like one, maybe 2 little moments that I vaguely remember as a kid. But it felt almost like watching a whole new movie for me in a way.
Yeah. It's interesting watching, because I also had different experiences with watching this movie. Like, I watched this movie before I was a teenager. Like, aspiring.
Just wait, whoa. Just right now, just tell us how you felt the first time you watched it.
Okay, yeah. That's what I was about to say. Like, when first time I watched it, like, watching it as someone who's like aspired to be like a teenager, like you're a kid, and you're like, oh man, this is what teenagers act like. I guess these guys are cool. They're hanging out, and it's like, and I remember I just have all these memories of playing with playing with my Ninja Turtle toys and trying to reenact all the scenes. So yeah, great toys. They made buckets of money off of this. I'm sure
they made buckets of money. That's
probably one of the best toys. Buckets of money. Like there's like more than your body weight of money.
Yeah,
true.
It's like, oh my god,
probably a pretty low amount of money. Just in your body weight.
Yeah, right. If we're talking I
probably weigh maybe $5,000.
Yeah, are we talking
That's what
ones though? Or are we talking ones or hundreds? Like,
They weigh the same. They weigh the same.
Still,
It's less-
Dollar
it's
bills.
less
$5,000.
it's less bills.
$5,000 in toys? That's a lot of fucking toys, though.
I'm just saying, $50 in quarters probably weighs what I weigh. I don't know.
But
I
yeah,
estimate more than $50. Anyway, keep going.
you would hope. Yeah. Guys, put in the comments how much does Noah weigh in quarters. But yeah, I just really.
$50.
No, hey, the person with the right answer will get a does it hold up T-shirt.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Whoever has the best, the right answer or the funniest answer gets the "Does it hold up" T-shirt.
Yes,
sounds
two
pretty
things can be true.
But yeah, I just it was a big movie for me as a kid, and it was just interesting watching this. Also, maybe even 15 years ago, and just watching as older but different eye, and I still watched it from a different eye. A couple of days ago when I watched it again, or a half hour ago when I watched it again. So it's I'm excited to talk about how I felt about it, and how we all are tackling this movie now that we're all grown ups. But yeah, this movie starts out in New York City. Television reporter April O'Neil, played by Judith Hoag, reports on a silent crime wave quickly enveloping the city. That night, April is attacked by a group of thieves led by Sam Rockwell, also known as Zaphod Beeblebrox from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's my favorite role of his. Anyway.
Oh, that's where I recognize him from.
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Okay.
Sammy Rockwell.
Man.
I feel like he's going to pop up a lot in these movies that we talk about on this show.
He might, yeah.
He's one of those character actors that always it's oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, then that night April is attacked by a group of thieves and is saved by an unseen group of vigilantes. But we all know it's the titular characters. We all know it's them Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
What do y'all think of this intro scene?
No.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I gotta start this one out because the intro scene was, first of all, it was beautifully shot.
It was beautifully shot. Agreed.
I was like, man, I do not remember this being this nice. It looks so dope.
The tone is great, man. They do a great job with the tone of the city. It's shot really beautifully. Like you said, it feels kind of, I don't know, realistic. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off, Bill. I'm sorry. Keep going, man.
No, it's absolutely realistic. That's perfect segue. It's called Throwing It Back. And because at this time that the movie actually came out, crime was actually at the highest in its history in New York. Crime was actually really bad. There was a lot of pickpocketing. There was a lot of purse snatching. There was a lot of armed robberies, and people were on edge, around the city and also around the country, because people were, New York is one of our favorite cities in this country. It's one of our biggest cities. It's one of our most known cities. If you either hate it or you love it, type thing around the country. And people were like, oh, there's a lot of crime in New York City. And they played to that perfectly. And like you said, the tone just got you immersed. You were easily in New York City, hey, we're in New York right now. I got an accent all of a sudden.
Yeah, such a cool, perfect 80s. Man, watching it too, you see the 80s hit you hard, real fast.
Yeah,
Bam,
absolutely.
right in the face.
Yeah, 80s New York. But the tone is they did a good job. It felt serious. It feels very serious, which is kind of funny. And
it's kind of interesting, the tone of this movie, because like you said, this came out in 1990, but it's this cusp where it still has that 80s grime to it before, because it looks very different from the movies that would precede it, even in the same trilogy or whatever. But I like how the exposition is done, too. It's we're getting shots of this grimy city and all this crime that's happening while April is explaining, doing basically, she's doing exposition up top. But it doesn't feel super exposition heavy, there's a narrator. That would have been a weird way to go with it, I think. But this is just she's doing her job. And then at the end of her doing the report, we see her leaving the news station, and then she's attacked. It's the plot just kind of moves pretty fast, despite the fact that we have your traditional '80s montage opening with the credits and stuff like that. Yeah.
I know it was exposition, but it didn't feel like that at all.
Yeah, it
It
really
didn't even
doesn't.
seem like it. She's just
You're just watching a
doing-
news
she's just-
segment. Yeah, it just felt like you were
Right,
watching
exactly.
a news segment. Yeah.
Which
Yeah, is she doing is it exposition if you're actually a news, like if you're actually reporting on
Yeah.
what's happening? Like, I don't know, is it? Like,
That is something I thought that this whole movie did pretty well was because I was watching it with my partner V, and I was just like, he was like, how did what are they? Is it like mutation? What's going on with them? And I was like curious about how they were going to do the exposition and the backstory, and they handled that really well. Like, I was surprised, actually. There's one moment where, like, Splinter's later telling his story, and he kind of starts going through the thing, and we're like, okay, here we go again. It's like, we already heard it. But, yeah, they
Oh, yeah,
handled
I
the
do know what you're
exposition
talking about,
pretty well. Yeah.
I think I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about too. Yeah. But yeah, like
I
did.
do want to point out though, since we're talking about the exposition, it was very much so, elaborated to us that this gang of Foot Clan or whatever unnamed gang is quiet and unseen and slick and sly. They're flea. But the people who rob April O'Neil or try to jump April O'Neil, they were none of those. I don't think that they were related. I think they were just regular crime.
They were, actually.
Because they were just regular crime. Those guys were not involved in the Foot.
I think they were, weren't they? But I thought because they were kids, and the teenagers are getting turned into the Foot Clan later. Like, right?
Yes, but these guys were just not good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, they had
just
no
go through
fighting
explaining
skills.
to us how slick and look, you never see them. People have been reporting that they never even know that they're robbed until it's too late.
Yeah.
And it's like, but these guys are like,
Yeah, you're right.
shit.
That's just true. Over again.
yo, change it.
Grab a place.
I just feel like, if they were in the Foot Clan, these guys were the new recruits. Like, these guys had not gotten no training yet. 'Cause they were just, it was their first day.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have. I definitely agree with that, and and even though Sam Rockwell was in this group, I feel like Sam Rockwell was just like one of the, because they don't get too close up on his face or anything like that. I think they're just like, we like this actor, we're just gonna keep using him. Because this also was a really low budget movie, not adjusted for inflation. I think if adjusted for inflation, it was like $13 million budget, but it was a $7 million. It was shot on a $7 million budget over 7 weeks. So it was a very short.
That's an independent film.
Yeah, it was like a very short film schedule, and considering
That's an
like all the
independent
shit
film.
that went into, yeah, it's
Wow.
it's crazy.
They made so much fucking money off of this fucking movie.
Totally did.
Right? Yeah. We'll talk about like how much they made a little bit later, but when we see the turtles go back to their lair, and then we get like the first reveal of the turtles. Noah, what did you think of like just the look of the turtles and the characters of the turtles, like the prosthetics, the makeup, and everything?
I remembered it so much better. I felt like than when you see it again. It is interesting. They did a good job. I feel like the bodies are pretty good. The gesturing's a little off sometimes when they're talking with their, but the mouths are pretty goofy. Not everything lines up super. It was impressive and like how it was made. I'll give it that. And I feel like going into that movie in 1990, when they've never you're gonna be like, how are they making these 6 feet tall turtle people? Like, that seems crazy, but they did a good job in context to that. But I feel like today when I see it, I'm just like, oh man, this just looks goofy. Like, I don't know, it just looks like some really, really good cosplay. That's what I feel like. The animatronics or whatever that control the face, yeah, it's good. Some scenes are better than others, but watching a whole movie of it, I feel like I start to get I don't know. It just starts to wear on me. I was losing focus during this movie a lot, which I was surprised by, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings. In some ways, I'm really impressed. In other ways, it's just like feels dorky as hell.
Oh, what about you, Bill? Like, how did you feel about like how the animatronics and like the costuming hold up to?
I thought the animatronic. Oh my god, this is a failure. I thought
No,
the
the costume, yeah.
animatronics. I thought the animatronics were dope, and I want to point out the reason I'm going to say they were dope is that this is the first time we've seen this in television, and movies. Like they had not done this before, so this is like the first time, and that is pretty damn impressive to me. Because we watched the behind the scenes thing. I don't know if Alex can pull up where they show the helmet for this. Like it's basically a helmet. I said it's a we were talking about the masks, but it's basically a helmet with electric wires all running through it. It looks like Iron Man's helmet. Yeah. Like it's and the way that they broke down how it operates and how it works, and I mean basically it takes 3 people to play one character.
Yeah.
And it's impressive from that standpoint. Like
for sure.
You know what
that's
I mean?
kind of
like,
what I meant is like in context.
I know
that,
you said that. You said like the context of the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
like this stuff right here, like, and I just
really
feel like
is impressive for sure.
I feel like people were totally robbed of a good series because they messed up all of this stuff. We'll talk about that stuff later, but like,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't want to spoil too much stuff because this isn't a podcast about the 3 movies that's in a whole. But yeah, I was impressed with. I was impressed, heavily impressed. Thought it was great. It's hard to do that shit, and I thought it was great
for sure. And I think some of the masks look better than the other ones. Like I think Leo and Donatello looked better than like Raphael for some reason just looks funky to me. I don't know what it is. His eyes are too small or something.
Oh yeah, like they definitely.
I like that they're trying to give him more personality.
Well, yeah, that's their attempt to make him look angry at most times. But yeah, there's times where his eyes are like open, like big ass open. So you know that they had that it was a choice for them to go that way.
Yeah, it's interesting because like it's definitely very impressive, and you could see how much better they got even with the second movie with the facial animatronics, like as opposed to the first movie. Because there are some moments where just like maybe the dialogue doesn't work quite as well. Like there's one moment later on in the movie where Raph leaves and Leo's like, "Good, we don't need you." Like and that's one where it's just like it would have been great if you could have a little bit more of an expressive face because it was just much very Chuck E. Cheese in that moment where you really need an emotional moment. But there are other times where I feel like it really, I don't know, it works really well where like there's even great emotional moments where I guess you're not asking the animatronics to do too much other than just show one expression. Let the music and the story do its job, and like you're really, really there. Like I was very close to tears on a couple of moments of this movie, but we'll get to those later. But yeah, I thought.
One more thing about the animatronics. I drink every time I say animatronics wrong.
Oh god, you're responsible for several hundred deaths.
Oh man, I forgot what I was even gonna say now. I don't even.
Animatronics.
I just know that. I know.
It's definitely something about animatronics.
I might remember it later, but go ahead.
But later because we see it's interesting with this movie because it seems like April is kind of the main character because it kind of opens around. It's all about her investigation of the Foot Clan because she's like, what's up with this wave of crime? It's all about these teenagers, and we don't see this, but we do hear her say that she's like interviewing a lot of Japanese American immigrants and just like trying to figure out like the history of this Foot Clan. So I thought that was like an interesting touch. Like, oh yeah, I guess she's like the main character.
A good touch.
Well, you have to have somebody that grounds the
for sure
down because we're talking about giant teenage mutant ninja turtles.
Yeah,
like first of all, I do like one thing. They were actually kind of true to the real ninja, though. Because ninja is supposed to be...
Oh, wait.
Like...
Sorry. I just
Like
realized
this
I was
ninja-
talking. My mute mic was off, I think. So,
Oh,
so
Okay.
continue.
no, I just like the ninjas are supposed to be not seen. Like the real ninjas were like mostly like the CIA. You know, like what is today is the CIA. They were about collecting secrets and staying unseen, and they protected by infiltrating and what do you call it? What do you call it?
Espionage or reconnaissance.
Espionage, yeah, and misinformation, disinformation, all that kind of stuff. Like the CIA actually does. There's no evidence that they actually assassinated anybody. They actually only, if they fought, they only fought if they needed to fight. Mm-hmm. And so, just like real ninjas, these Ninja Turtles are much like the actual ninja, not the ninjutsu masked ninjas that you see, in movies and stuff, stereotypically portrayed.
Yeah, and like it's funny because like ninjas weren't even that popular in the Western world until like I think there was like this James Bond movie I think it came out in '86, and you kind of see that influence in later, and then the big influence that this movie has later with the ninja movies. But it's kind of interesting, like how like I don't know why I like this movie so much when I was a kid, because there's just moments that are very contemplative and introspective. Because there are moments where they really like focus on is like, okay, these are teenagers who are asked to be like actively invisible, and which that's like kind of a hard thing to do when you're growing up and like you're wanting to like strut. You're kind of coming into yourself.
Make friends too. Yeah.
So it's an interesting like point in their lives that we're reaching with them. But no, what were you about to say, Bill?
I remember what I was going to say earlier. It wasn't about the animatronics. I was just trying to keep it pushing. The scene where April O'Neil gets attacked and they save her, that was their first fight.
Right.
They get back to the sewer, their lair, and they talk to Splinter and they let him know that their first fight went well. It went very well, actually, for it to be their first fight.
Yeah. I forgot that. Like, they mentioned that it's their first fight, which is like, it adds more it makes the whole thing much more interesting. It's like, this is their first time going out into the world, meeting new people. And of course, like they sort of like have this attachment toward this very attractive first person that they met. Shout out to Judith Hoag, because she killed it in this role. Personally, I think that she was amazing.
She was great. She did a great job.
Yeah, like I hate that they replaced her in the other movies. I'll have to figure out why later.
Yeah, who knows?
But
money. Shit. She probably was like, nah, y'all, I'm out here doing all the work. I'm the only person with a face in this. Come on.
That's a good point.
I'm the only person who's a person. I need some money.
And she was really great, like expressing herself, like with the other, with the turtles and stuff like that. Like there were so many times where I really feel her emotion, or emotional connection with like the other turtles, and like
that's a great point, Alex.
Yeah, like that. Thank you. But Raph is pissed because he lost one of his size up top. Gets into a little bit of a argument with everybody, and he fucks off. He goes to see Critters at the movies, and this is where he runs into Casey Jones, played by Elias Koteas, also another great actor in this movie. What did you guys think of Casey Jones?
Well, hold on. I just want to say, Raphael puts on a trench coat and a fedora and just starts walking around New York. No pants. He's still got turtlenecks on, just walking around, and everybody's just like, hey, New York, huh? Like, no, just another day in New York. Like, ridiculous.
Hey, Frankie. Hey, Frankie, did you see that guy walk by?
Yeah, he's like,
did you see his feet? Did you see his feet? No, look, I had feet like that one time. It happened, it got real bad. Just a foot fungus.
Swole up like that.
Brother, let me tell you about gout.
I've seen that before.
Well, literally,
I've seen that before.
They pass a taxi, and this one guy goes, what was that thing? He goes, yeah, it looks like a giant turtle in a trench coat. Hey, you going to LaGuardia, right? Like, that's literally what happened. because the
But
first
that
time I
also
was
is
like,
very
nobody
New York.
notices. Well, that's how they justify it to me. Is like at first I was like, wait, nobody notices this turtle in a trench coat walking around, and they justify it by just being like, yep, that's New York for you. What do you like? It's just like, hey, I've seen crazy. Come on.
I've always said that's why people put these like comic books. I feel like that's why people put comic books in like
look at this
in New
guy.
York. Like comic book
great.
settings are always in New York because that's the one place you can do anything. Anything could be happening, and people just would keep going on about their regular lives.
Right,
If that was happening
would not
in
give a shit.
Birmingham, Alabama, a motherfucking world would shut down. But like, it's in New York City, and they're just like, hey, it looks like a fucking turtle in a trench coat.
It's like, I got
Last
shit
week,
to do.
I saw a goose in a ball gown. Ain't nothing gonna top that. Nothing's topping that one.
Hey, look, guy, did you see the goose in the ball gown?
You see the goose? Yeah, turtle. But did you see that goose? That shit is crazy.
I saw an iguana in a sundress last week. Hey,
Hey, oh.
Oh, man.
Hey, I
we're
think this guy's, this is New York, baby. Hey, he must live in Queens. Hey, I know where he lives.
But then this is when we get our introduction of Casey Jones. What did you guys think of Casey Jones? Because I actually really like this character and this character in this movie specifically. No,
It's a very short answer. I want to go first because I have a very short answer. Very short answer. This is a typical '90s dude or late '80s dude.
Yeah.
Like that's all I gotta say. Like typical late '80s white dude. If you think it's chauvinistic or homophobic or whatever, that's because that's what it was at the time. So that's how it was at the time. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Casey, he was cool. Like I grew up with all my friends loving Casey Jones, and I, for some reason, didn't really get into him. I think it's cool that he uses like a hockey stick and baseball bats, and he's got like the cool mask. He looks pretty dope. I don't get why he's so much better at fighting than these 4 ninjas who have been training their entire life.
Right.
Like there's a big scene that comes up later where all these ninjas show up and Casey Jones they're having trouble with him. Casey Jones shows up and suddenly all the ninjas are like just fighting him, and he's enough to distract every single ninja while the 4 Ninja Turtles get away. While he fights off the Foot Clan. I don't know. It just felt like I don't know why he's so much better at fighting than everyone else is. He's just like some dude.
Yeah, the power levels, as it were, kind of like wonky because it would have been nicer to see Casey Jones Raph to beat Casey Jones in that first fight. And it does, like in that scene, like where the apartment catches on fire. We'll get to that later, but it does seem like they just needed a 4th person to like get the better odds on the situation.
Yeah.
At least that's how I read the situation. But
I'm gonna tell y'all are not gonna say it. So I'm gonna just say why. I mean, clearly, there's one reason why.
Well,
Casey Jones was I'm saying there's one reason he was as powerful as the Ninja Turtles.
All right, go ahead.
And you haven't said it, y'all. I guess y'all don't realize it. It's because he's white.
He's not green.
He's white.
It's because
I'm white.
green, isn't it?
He's a white man, so he's in the movies. He's gonna be strong.
He's kind of a dick.
It's the 90s.
Yeah, he's definitely a dick.
It's the 90s, man. It's the 90s.
I like that part of his character that he's rough around the edges. He's not like politically correct, and he's like apparently an ex-hockey player, so he probably has like this pent up aggression where he doesn't have like
used
this.
to getting in fights.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a
also,
an
he also
outlet for
has
that anymore.
CTE. He probably also has CTE.
Right, yeah, he's probably crazy.
It probably explains a lot of the behavior. So I forgot about that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. You know what? I take a lot of the things I said back about him. He's probably a victim.
Yeah, it's a pretty fair fight between the two of them. I think it would have been a better if Raph kind of showed off in front of him, and maybe it's his ego that gets the better of him, and he ends up losing the fight at the end because of that. Yeah, but he could still be impressed with Casey Jones' fighting ability. But coming out and it being it felt a little too even, and even I think Raphael kind of loses because he falls in a trash can and looks like an idiot.
Yeah, and
he does.
It's kind of.
But I have an excuse for that. I have an explanation.
No,
for that. That's what I do on this show. I explain things away for these people. I retcon for people so that they understand the movie. No, they just were. That was their first fight. Their first real fight was the one where they saved April. So this is and they overestimate their enemy. So I think I mean, they underestimate their enemy a lot. That's what I think happened in the one scene before that we'll talk about later. But yeah, I think that's the way you explain it. Like they play around a lot. Okay. They underestimate because they know they can kick everybody's ass. You know, it's just like
right. And
because Raphael fought somebody for he fought them people for what, like 10 minutes up on the roof.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, because he handled himself pretty well. That's a really great fight scene too. And apparently this scene got cut a little bit, because there's a comic book that's like directly, almost shot for shot, how Casey and Raph meet, and then apparently after they have this little tussle, the fight continues in an alleyway where they have like a little conversation about how, you're not so different, you and I, and then they just kind of like walk away from each other. So it's not sort of like definitively one person beats the other. But yeah, like narratively in the movie that we got, it does just feel weird. So I like Bill's explanation as like, is only their first fight. They're still kind of green, and maybe he was a little bit. I didn't even mean to do that, but holy shit. But yeah, then April continues investigating the crime wave, theorizing that it is the work of the Foot Clan, and the Foot's leader, the Shredder, orders her to be silenced. Now, I'm very curious what you guys thought about this specifically, because they kind of touched on this. But do you think that the cops are being influenced by the Foot? Because
I think,
the Foot.
Oh man,
the Foot said, we had the shot of Shredder being like, silence her, and then from that moment on, the chief is really trying to get gets Danny out of jail or whatever for the head of the news, in order to get this story stopped. But why does he have such an investment in getting the story stopped? Noah, I'm curious of what you thought.
Oh damn, dude! I'll be honest. I don't know if I even caught that when I watched that the Foot Clan might be affecting the local police. Like the police are a little corrupt. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. That's a good observation. I feel like I missed that.
Great observation, because I've totally caught that as well. I think that might be some cutting room floor footage as well. Because there's got to be something where they cut that out, where they're like, this is for kids. Let's just try to take that
It's
kind
a
of
pretty
stuff
good.
out.
It's a nice touch. If it was intentional, it's a nice little touch.
Because I'm gonna tell you where it's absolutely of a case. Mm-hmm. Because Stern calls the reporter after he finds out that his kid was arrested.
Right.
And he basically blackmails him to get April off of. It's insinuated that he blackmails him to get April off the case,
right,
or off the story.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So that's like one example of him blatantly trying to influence people. Okay, that's fair. That's a good point. That's cool. Good touch.
And I think it would have been great for a second movie. There's so many things that were wrong with the second movie, but I still like the second movie. But spoiler alert. But but there's so many things about the. There's so many things that they could have used that they set up in this movie to move on and make the second movie just as better, make the world connect. Mm-hmm. But we're not talking about the second movie.
In the next movies, or at least in the second movie, it seems like Chief Stearns is more like a just your cantankerous little chief. So they kind of drop any hint that he was in cahoots with the Foot, but it really feels like there's just a 1-2 in their reaction, like the Foot's reactions and the cops' reactions, which I really liked. I like that little subtle touch.
Before we go any further, I'd like to point out a few things that are becoming common tropes on this show.
Ooh, yeah. What you got?
Cliches like callbacks to movies. Apparently, in the 90s, I didn't realize this is growing up watching these movies, but apparently it was a thing as a writer to just, put callbacks to other movies. Like,
oh, yeah.
Who you gonna call? April O'Neil says, who you gonna call? The police, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. One of the best lines of the movie.
Punch in the face to the police, and also a callback to the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
For what reason?
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
they said that, and me and V both went, the Ghostbusters? Because she sets it up for you. Who you gonna call? The Ghostbusters?
She's like, unfortunately, the police.
Yeah.
It's like it's
there's no
perfect timing. it's perfect timing for you to realize, the Ghostbusters, but then also she's like, no, unfortunately you're wrong, and it is the police that you have to call.
Yeah, that is the reality, and it is sad. And then, like, after she, has this news report just blasting the Foot, calling them out in their Christian name on television, the Foot meet her at the subway, and we get this gentleman, this foot soldier, who I'm hoping is Japanese because he's got a little bit of an accent going on.
It's so bad.
He said, Mijo Real, we are rooting for you.
I feel like you can't do
God,
it.
Yeah, it was
You can't do an impression of his impression without you also being kind of racist.
Yeah,
It's just that bad.
I'm saying when he said it, I was like, I hope he's Japanese.
That's what we all thought. That's what we all thought, man.
I hope he's Japanese. I'm just gonna say, I hope.
Honestly,
I pretty much know he wasn't, but I really hope so.
We thought that too when Master Splinter started talking. I felt that same way, honestly.
Yeah.
There's one reason some of these feel a little dated too because of things like that. There's
I'm willing to bet you Master Splinter was Japanese.
References.
No, let me tell you something. It's one thing. Look, when it comes to Master Splinter, and impersonations in general, there's a difference between impersonations and like caricatures. Like you're there's like a very fine line, but there is a difference. Like, so if I'm doing Bill Clinton, am I being racist? Am I just, if I sound like Bill Clinton, then I'm actually doing a good job. Like,
so who was Master Splinter being an impression of?
So it's funny.
He's just like an old Japanese man. Watch some kung fu.
Yes.
If you watch kung fu movies from over there, that's how they sound. That's how they do the sounds. I mean, look, that's how they do their shit.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you where it's coming from. It's cinematic. It's not like people talk like that. It's like we watch movies. People from back in the day, people don't talk like that either. Black people don't talk like this, man. But they talk like this in all the blaxploitation films, you dig? Like, people, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a cinematic thing. It's not a caricature. It's not racist. It's not bagging on nobody or, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
I'm glad that
there's a fine line. Like I said, there is a fine line. So, before you're being offensive, but...
I mean, Splinter is on the lesser side of the, like, he bothered me less than that one Foot Clan soldier. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah, that guy was.
Foot Clan soldier feels like a terrible, terrible.
Yes, Foot Clan soldier was racist. That's what I'm saying. It's good that they're both in this movie though, because it was the exact. It's exact.
Yeah, it's a one-to-one. It's like there's one thing that they did wrong and one thing that it's probably excusable. But yes, it's funny because I'm glad that we're talking about this because one of the reasons like this. We got this show to see how things hold up in many different ways. Not just like if it's still funny or whatever, but it's like, ooh, was that?
Yeah,
was that
it didn't feel great?
Yeah, but no, like I do like, and I talked about this a little bit in my video analysis of Big Mouth. Little teaser there for you guys. Go check that video out. But I do think that there's like a difference when it comes to voice acting and like. Having voice actors depict different kinds of characters because like I don't feel like Phil Lamar depicting Samurai Jack is racist. I don't think that the actress who plays Kipo is racist because she's Japanese instead of being Korean. But I think that there's just a little bit of leeway when it comes to that like depiction of voice acting. And also it's a rat. It's not like he's a rat that grew up in Japan. It's like I don't feel like it's not like he's playing like a Japanese dude. Right. It's like a rat.
Yeah. That's why it feels like more excusable in a way.
Yeah, I think that gives you a lot of leeway there with it just being a rat and in sort of a voice acting situation.
We gotta talk about Danny. We gotta have a conversation about Danny.
Oh, Danny.
So
this piece of shit.
Danny. For those who, for some reason, if you're watching this and you haven't watched the movie, I don't know what to tell you. But Danny is the April O'Neil's boss's son,
right?
And he's with the Foot Clan. But the thing that was interesting to me is this kid has 2 shirts on the entire movie.
Yeah.
this kid wore one shirt for like 3 days.
I never noticed.
Then if you're just counting like the actual time in the movie, like he wore one shirt for 3 days. Then he wore another shirt till the end of the movie. Like for however long they were in the house
shirts.
up north.
I just not thought about
Sid Vicious shirts.
Which is weird.
They're both Sid Vicious shirts. So it's like this kid listens to one band. I can tell you who he was listening to on the headphones. He was listening to Sid Vicious.
Right?
Because
like,
that's the only shirt he wore. And he only had 2 shirts in life.
and
No
my
wonder
nerd
he
brain,
thinks his dad doesn't love him because his dad only has 2 shirts for this kid to wear. I think he was right to be out in the streets.
Yeah, like my nerd brain went, oh man, I wonder if you could buy a replica of that shirt online. But I was like, I don't think that I want a Sid Vicious shirt. Like out of all the,
No one's gonna, yeah.
out of all the
No
musicians,
one's gonna be like, oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
right? Yeah, he was like, hey,
Yeah,
isn't
no
that
one.
Yeah, this is a reference to Danny from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's the most
original
popular.
movie.
Yeah, that's the most popular thing about
No, you
Sid
know
Vicious.
You know what? If I ever see somebody with that shirt on, that's exactly what I'm going to say to him from here on out. I'm
From
going
a
to say,
1999 classic hit.
I'm just going to walk up to him and go, Danny. Danny, right?
Danny,
like
right?
Danny.
I get you.
I got you. I see you.
But yeah, like after April gets attacked, man, like oh sorry, we went on a tangent there. But after April gets attacked, they take her back to the lair. She realizes these guys are Toidles, of the Teenage Mutant variety, and Splinter. She screams. I thought this was a really great scene too, like where she just kind of we're revealing all this to her, and Splinter explains the whole backstory of them growing up to, which I thought was cool. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, that's where the exposition I felt like was nice. Like it felt natural. Like she was like, "What are you guys?" And then you can explain it. Then you don't have to start the movie with explaining how the Ninja Turtles happened first. I thought that was a pretty
Agreed.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, in a lesser movie, you could definitely see how it would be like an open with a narration about like 15 years ago, 4 turtles were found in like some ooze.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's kind of naturally. I think it was like maybe 20 minutes into the movie or 15 minutes into the movie where we get this exposition scene. But then she goes back home.
Just want to point out.
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
Just want to point out that the double dragon totally ripped off this movie with one scene because when they take April to their lair, we see that one of the Foot Clan was there, followed them back, and he went. Then we get introduced to their whole scene, and we get introduced to Shredder.
Yes.
It was really crazy because, I'm skipping right over like the whole scene where they went and hide in April's apartment and whatever. But and I just skipped over the fact that Shredder was kidnapped.
Splinter was kidnapped. Yeah.
Well, where Splinter was kidnapped. But like, I got to point out that like that whole scene where they're skating, the kids are like playing, like playing games and playing music and just like having kid fun, teenage fun.
What a cool place.
What a cool place. It was just like Double Dragon. It was just like Double Dragon. Like Double Dragon took that because they used that same thing for the power chorus. It's like, this is what kids do. We're having fun. Like this is, man, we're just out here. Except these kids are really like stealing shit. So it was I remember being a kid being like, oh man, this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we do this without stealing stuff? That sounds fun.
Well, it's like a badass club with cool skateboard ramps and like poker tables, and the kid, like an 8-year-old smoking a cigar in the corner, and they're literally like playing gambling and shit like that. It was nuts. It's like it was nuts. That place was crazy. It was cool as hell though, but also. The kids, Danny's talking to him. He's like, anything you want, you can have it. He's like giving him a tour or whatever. And he's like, you got cigarettes? And he's like, menthol or regular?
Yeah.
He just pulls up all these cigarettes. I don't know. It's just crazy.
He's like, hey, yo, Danny, I got you. Who got you all the time? I told you, bro.
This movie was definitely not afraid of like kind of throwing cigarettes and kids together and the same, you know, like, hey, go smoke them up.
It's amazing. But in that segue, we get the best scene in the movie to me.
Yeah.
The reveal of Shredder.
Yeah, and I'm actually just gonna play this with the music real quick because
it's awesome.
The score for this the score for this movie. I don't actually know if YouTube will let it play. Like if you audience members will be able to hear it. But
yeah, I can't hear it, but that's okay.
Oh, you can't hear it? Okay. Well,
no, that's okay.
Yeah, it's such a great theme song. I was just listening to the soundtrack this morning. Like there's so many iconic songs. And
but play that back.
Oh, from the beginning.
Because that scene is so dope. You don't even need the music.
It's cool. The whole movie is incredibly. It's shot really well.
I mean,
look at that.
Like
yeah.
That intro where he comes in and then old buddy has to take his cape off of it. He gotta show my spikes. Like, show my spikes before I speak.
Assistant, reveal my shredders. Reveal my knives.
He's like, I don't never talk unless I have my damn knives showing.
Yeah, it's like
shows them why they call me the Shredder.
Yeah, I like the slow reveal of it too, because like we get the earlier scene of like it's just a dark room with all the different monitors, and it's just him, and he throws the knife at one of the television screens. Like, this is fucking scary as shit. Like,
yeah, he's pretty spooky.
Yeah, I really liked the performance of that actor and everything, and the way they shot.
And
him.
I think he was Japanese.
Yeah, they actually had an Asian actor. I think the voice actor, I think, for Shredder was a different actor than the guy who was in the movie. But yeah, it was definitely a Japanese actor.
It wasn't a racist thing. It's not racist.
Yeah, it was just
why?
like a.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's in those types of situations where they change the voice actor for a real person. That's because the person's voice sounds like this.
Yeah,
it's like sounds something crazy. It's like
Right,
like
yeah, like Darth Vader in Star Wars.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Shredder. I'm gonna really whoop some butt today.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dub over this guy.
Yeah, it's like, this. Yeah, it doesn't have. I like. He's tall.
He's cool.
But,
he looks cool. Yeah, he's tall.
He fills out the suit real nice.
Can you guys call that one fat guy that we had that we didn't want to use? Can you call that guy? We'll get him to be the voice actor.
Yeah,
I
call
love
that
his
ugly
voice.
guy.
He had a great voice. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a great voice.
Yeah, I thought revealing the knives on it was a little cheesy and kind of silly to me. I felt like there's another way to do it.
You know, it's funny. I thought that was cheesy at first.
The reason that scene is so hard is because that fucking helmet and that mask is actually bad ass.
It's cool.
Like, that helmet is bad. If I walked in with that helmet right now, actually, you know what? I'm gonna my new name is DJ Shredder, and I'm getting a helmet, and that's all I'm gonna wear.
Pretty good name.
Every time I DJ. DJ Shredder. Like Shredder.
Yeah. Honestly, just the silhouette of that helmet is pretty fucking dope. Like, it just like the way the there's like there's like 3 different shots in this oneer that are just really well framed. And I did like the ceremonious nature of it, because it does seem like it was like the induction of these guys getting into it's like, it doesn't seem like it's an everyday thing. Every time he walks out, he's got to take the fucking. He's like, "Where's my cape, Shredder, motherfucker?"
But just like he was like, Kyle, my cape got stuck again. I can't go in there. Can you fix these? So annoying. I'd love to dub over that, honestly.
Right? I mean, it's got a long track.
It's got a long track.
Or long train, rather. Oh, shit. Making technical difficulties here.
So we get a lot of the personality out of these guys, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're going to talk about a little bit. First of all, who's your favorite turtle? And then also, how did y'all like how their personalities work in this movie, as far as like both, contextually, time period wise, and also like, now?
I'll let you go first, Noah.
Okay, I feel I feel like the only ones they really like. Donatello's purple, right?
Yeah.
Donatello's
Yeah.
purple. I feel like he gets all the. He was kind of lackluster. Like I felt like they didn't really know what to do with him. I don't think.
Yeah, it's because he's black. It's because he's black. They didn't know what to do with black folks. They don't know. They didn't know nothing.
Well, I don't. Donatello's supposed to be like the smart kind of techie one and stuff like that. And I felt like they hadn't quite figured that out yet. At least, and it's really not about him. It's more about Raphael. This whole movie, honestly.
I felt like. Yeah, no. Continue. I'm sorry.
That's all. I mean, I just feel like Raphael's personality is very clear, and Leonardo was like kind of clear. Donatello, everything he said is goofy, so you get his personality pretty well. But I feel like Leo and I get their names mixed up all the time. Sorry, I'm just gonna use colors.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna use colors. All right.
Okay, yeah. Start over. Just colors.
Let's start over. Red was clear. He's angry.
Yeah.
Yellow or orange. He's funny and goofy. And I felt like purple kind of got a few lines here and there, but no personality really. And blue, I just felt like he was just kind of the leader. Like he had the cool meditation moment, but I feel like that was like his only real moment in the movie too. So I don't know. It's really a Raphael movie for sure.
What about you, Bill? What did you think? Like as far as
Well, no, you go ahead.
Well,
I asked the questions. I asked the question.
Okay. No, I liked the characterization of the turtles. It did feel sort of like, man, I had an example in my head. Or yeah, like an X-Men movie where like Wolverine. It's an ensemble movie, but Wolverine gets most of the shine, and Raphael's sort of the Wolverine of this movie.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense because he's kind of in a different headspace than the rest of the turtles. Like. It does seem like Leo, Donnie, and Mikey are just kind of like hanging out. They have more fun than Raph. Like from the beginning to the end, Raph is like kind of on the outskirts. Like he's very much in a place where he wants to be more adventurous. He wants to explore more. He's the only one who goes to the movies and shit. And he also starts out on this place where he's disappointed in himself because he lost one of his weapons on their first time out. So like from the beginning, he already has that like justifiable 15-year-old angst about him, and it just makes his character a little bit different than the other ones. Obviously, Mikey's like on the other side of that spectrum where he's just like happy-go-lucky, and Leo and Donnie are kind of just in the middle where they're just like, whatever. And Leo's, I guess, like more of the leader and tries to like hold things together. But I liked the idea that he's like there's so many characters. I feel like the having the movie just focused on Raph and April to an extent just like was a smart move. Like we don't need a whole lot of backstory, and we'll actually talk a little bit later about some other stuff that got cut with some other turtles. After
sorry, no good. So first of all, I'm not going to really give a whole answer. Like I agree with both of you. I just feel like as far as to both of y'all's points, Donatello was. To your point, Noah, Donatello was
purple.
Depicted. He was purple. Purple. He was depicted as with his intelligence, but not. It was very subtle. Like he's always reading. He's the only one asking introspective conversation. Like he's only asking like deep questions. He's the only one like did you hear that about Splinter? Like did you ever really think about what Splinter was talking about? Like not having.
That's fair.
Honestly, I really loved that moment in that scene, like in the movie. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like I thought that was a really beautiful moment because there's so many father things with like April talking about her dead father. Like I thought that like all this stuff where everybody's I don't know. Like I really like that moment where in this movie about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we don't have to talk about like grief and loss and growing up and leaving childhood things behind, but they touch on that in this movie for a couple of moments.
No, I disagree with you don't have to because you definitely have to. Now they didn't have to do it, but they did do it, and that's what makes it good. Because my first question when I started watching it, I was like, "What does make them teenagers?" Like, what is it that makes them teenagers?
They're 15, that's all. They're like 15 years old.
No, but...
Yeah, right.
I did think that at first. But what does make them 15 is they're learning how to deal with these issues. Like, these are issues that you start dealing with at 15, 16 years old. You do have to start thinking about these things when you're 15, 16 years old. And this is their first time having to, and they literally have to, like, they struggle throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Until they kind of get it, and then, like, happy ending. Like, so to that point, that is the overall, that was the overall arc for it. And, so they were teenagers, like, they actually did have a teenage, what do you call it? What do they call that when you're in the movie? What do they call that kind of movie, Alex?
I
don't know.
It's okay. I think
when they call the movie where they have a turn. What is it? Turn of age?
Coming of age movie.
Coming of age. Coming of age story. Hey, we do this show drinking, ladies and gentlemen.
We do it under the influence. But no, I agree. Like that clip I just showed was another weirdly touching moment where the story slows down and it's just like, Splinter's like, "Hey, I love you, son," and like it just takes 5 minutes for them to just talk about like how hard it is for you to be like wanting to be like expressive, but you also, like, we're ninjas. You have to be invisible. Also, you're a 6'2" green monster. Like you should stay away from people at all costs. Then we get the fights after April calls out the foot on their name. Danny, I think he reveals where April is, or where the turtles are, because he got a kind of a glimpse of them at April's house, and then that's when they send the foot to go rough up Raph. Now, what did you?
Well, I kind of already mentioned that because
we touched on it a little bit. Like, it's like
we're jumping around a lot, Bill. We're trying to stay as streamlined. There's like an overarching stream, and then us jumping around all over.
I jumped over a certain part for
it's
time.
Not just you. It's just you talk about the movie. It's hard not to talk about different parts of it. Yeah.
Exactly. I specifically jumped over one part for time. I was like, no, we're just Splinter got kidnapped. We get
the fight, and then Raph gets, I guess, knocked out and puts into a coma, and then everybody has to hightail it to April's family house out in the country. And this is another moment where it's just like, I weirdly don't know why kid me liked it so much, because it slows the movie down so much. But adult me, I like the character work of seeing how all these characters are reacting to Raph's like situation. And even April dealing with like, oh, I'm back at my dead father's house. Right. What did you think of all this like slowed down section of the movie, Noah?
Yeah, so Raph gets jumped by the foot and ends up losing and getting beat up, but they save him thanks to Casey Jones and everything, right? That's this, and then they go to they have to leave town. They go back to this nice cottage town or whatever. I don't know. It's like an abandoned house. She said she hadn't been here in years, and there's no one else there.
It was her dad's house or her grandparents' house or something.
It's a family house for sure. I think it was.
Yeah. So, like these wide shot fight scenes, I think the wide shot fight scenes look really good. But anytime we start getting up close on them, I start coming out of the illusion a little bit. You know what I mean? It starts to break the illusion.
Right. Yeah. Like the puppetry. Like with some of the dialogue scenes is a little.
I like the scene. I agree. The character, they start doing character work more, like them kind of reflecting like, oh, one of our friends is beat up. One of our brothers is beaten up. We don't know if he's going to wake up, basically, like if he's going to survive this in a way. So that was really, really touching. And then, Leonardo goes out and kind of meditates over a fire and gets like they were there for a few days. See, I don't know. In one way, part of me is like, feels almost pointless, but I guess they're just waiting for Raphael to wake up. And then they do. Leonardo, through meditation, speaks momentarily with Splinter and he's like, I know he's alive. And I don't know. That part's really cool, seeing him in the fire and everything. And then contemplating. I like it. I do agree it slows down the movie. I don't remember having a problem with it as a kid, but it is nice character work. In a world so silly with these, it is kind of nice that they took it so seriously. That's what was kind of funny too.
Yeah,
they take the movie very seriously, even though you're staring at, like you said, like the Chuck E. Cheese band.
Right?
The band from Chuck E. Cheese most of the time, but they play it super serious, and I got to give them props for that. So. I don't know. I liked it. I liked that scene. I do not.
Yeah, you
to
like the Force
jump ahead
Ghost
for
scene?
you. Yeah, they kind of force chat for a second.
Yeah.
They go out, and he's like, "I know he's alive." So they all group meditate and they talk to Splinter, and Splinter basically says, "Like, I'm so proud of you. I love you all, my sons. I love you. Like, you're my children." That moment was actually surprisingly heartfelt and charming for me.
Yeah.
I really felt that.
This was the moment where I almost cried, actually.
Yeah, and then it comes down, and they go away, and it's just a nice, quiet moment of the turtles looking at each other, and they're all kind of crying and like handing on each other's backs and stuff like that, just being supportive. It was nice.
Yeah, I want to talk about how I felt about that scene too, but like, what did you think of that like this section?
It was
of the
excellent.
Scene?
It was excellent. First of all, I want to start with Raphael's fight scene. Raphael's fight scene on the rooftop was probably the best fight scene.
Yeah, it's a good fight scene.
Like on the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like
that into the apartment scene. Yeah, they're both. I think I like them both personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he and also in that fight scene, like when after the floor collapses, whoever the fight choreographer was for this he gets a B plus, A plus from me. A plus. Fuck it. He gets an A plus because everything set up something mostly. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like arbitrary violence. Like they're missing the turtles with the axes. They can't hit them, and that chops up the floor because it's an old house, and they've already explained how old the place is because she's walking them through her dad's antique shop. And, like they set up everything really well with that. So, but they also try to. I guess that's why I felt like a Raphael movie, because when they're like struggling right before Casey Jones shows up, they're struggling to fight off everybody. All the Foot Clan is overwhelming us, and they say, "Man, we could really use Raph right about now."
Yeah,
because I think they're trying to insinuate like that Raphael is the strongest of them.
Right.
Like, he may not be the fastest or the most skilled, but he is the brute force of the group.
True.
And also, to keep it canon, is it canon? It is the video games.
I was about to say, yeah.
he's the strongest character.
He's got
the strongest character. If you look at the power levels,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's actually the strongest character that you can fight with.
Leo and Donnie have the longest range. Mikey's the fastest. Y'all buy Shredder's Revenge. Nintendo, give me money for that plug.
And then also to speak to just to speak because Noah brought up the fire scene,
right?
That scene, because this is called a good segue. This is how you set up a segue, Alex. With that fire scene, none of their eyes are open, so they don't actually see Splinter.
Yeah, Mr. Splinter.
So it's like I always thought, is he actually there, or are they like just manifesting that, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it was always like I love that scene for all of the things that you said, but like also that as well. It's just like so well shot, so well done, and this is the '90s people. This is the early '90s people. We weren't seeing shit like this. That was like a dope scene. So I just want to point that out.
No,
but Alex, I know you wanted to talk about this scene.
No, it's a very good point. I just wanted to mention that. It does feel like that it's Splinter saying goodbye. Like if he does have the Force powers and he's doing his Force Ghost powers, because I do also think that this might just be like it's kind of ambiguous whether this is like sort of like some shared emotional experience that they're having, or if like they're actually psychologically connecting with Splinter from across the city. But it does feel like Splinter's just saying goodbye, because he's not saying. Come rescue me. I'm in this warehouse on 43rd Street. He's just like
Billy loses his cool.
Yeah, help!
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I thought it was more like a pre-recorded message. You know what I mean? Like
right. In case I die.
In case I am no longer here.
If you're watching this, I am dead.
No, not even like that. Not even like that, because like he only really talked about them gaining the last step. Like he mentioned early in the movie, there's only one more step that y'all have to become masters.
Right.
But I ain't gonna tell you what that is. Y'all just gotta figure it out. And then he's just letting them know, like, like in that speech he's just telling them, hey, you finally achieved this. So like, go on with your
yeah.
It's like it was like a pre-recorded message left at the end of a fucking level. You know what I'm saying? He just got there. Hello, if you're watching this, then you have become a master.
Yeah.
Please don't forget to rewind the tape for the next customer.
No, yeah, I definitely I agree. Like it's and like just thematically, I think that there's definitely this sense of as humans we contemplate our own mortality after our parents pass away, and we have to see how life is going to be like for the rest. Donnie says at the beginning of the movie, he's like, have you ever thought about what Splinter said about not having him around, and that's just kind of like the overarching theme of the movie, like the Turtles dealing with that, and April also revisiting that, re-inviting that into her life. So it's like weirdly like big themes going on in this movie that I really appreciated. But that motivates. Sorry, what were you?
See, I always know what he's gonna say. I always know what he's gonna say.
But it motivates the Turtles to go back to, because they're like, oh, fuck no, we ain't gonna let Daddy die. That's my daddy out there.
Before you bring that up, there was that character thing that you were telling me earlier off stage.
Oh yeah, that's right. Off the pot.
You were telling that one scene that was cut out for that character development was Michelangelo's scene where he apparently was very angry during the time that they're waiting on Raphael to wake up, and he was, it's like after Raphael wakes up, and he was very angry, and he's like very upset about Shredder, and he's like, that's why there's that fight scene apparently where not fight scene, but that scene where he's punching the punching bag, and he's supposed to be really upset about everything that's going on, and the scene where Raphael is on the roof screaming Splinter. Apparently, that was supposed to be Michelangelo. That was actually Michelangelo. If you look really closely, you can tell
orange bandana. Yeah.
Oh,
they just changed it with Brass voice.
They changed the voice because they felt like all of that was too out of character for Michelangelo himself.
Yeah,
they hadn't built up anything that would set up for you to believe that was
a good move.
Something that he did.
Yeah,
agreed.
I think it's a good move. Because I get the idea. It's like, oh, the happy-go-lucky one. He might be the most affected by losing his dad. So we finally see this goofy guy kind of lose it and like break down. And that's very interesting. But yeah, not having the setup for that is crucial. I mean, like you gotta have the setup, you know? What I mean? So yeah, it's a good call to cut that, I think.
Yeah, and also having him and Raph being... Oh, sorry, no, where you sit,
No, you're right. Having him and Raph be two angry dudes, that's weird. You gotta have just one angry dude.
Conflict story-wise too,
Yeah, a bit too much.
Yeah, but also I want to point the way that they changed it. Like usually when you see something like that's taken out in a movie, it kind of fucks up the movie, and you notice that like, oh, that was different. Like, it was seamless. Like, we wouldn't know this if they didn't tell us this. You know what I'm saying? If this didn't come out, we would not even know that. That was beautifully done. They get another check. They get another plus on that one for sure from me.
Yeah, shout out to the editors because there's like we get the sketches that April has of Leo and Donnie and Raph. Oh yeah, she's incredible. Oh my god.
She's just totally stopped reporting and become an illustrator.
But apparently that's where we're supposed to have the Mikey drawing, the Mikey sketch, and the story about him being like sort of upset, but we never get the Mikey drawing, therefore we never get that storyline. But I do also want to have a shout out to just the exposition and like the cleverness of the game with Donnie and Casey Jones. Because first, this is another sign that like, Donnie is really smart. He's the only one who's helping fix the truck. But also Donnie and Casey Jones are having this like insult game with the alphabet. Yeah, like it's like the rules are you have to use a different letter of the alphabet and like, you have to insult each other, but like they don't explain the rules of the game, but you understand the rules of the game just from them playing it. I really liked that scene. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, it's a good scene. That was a good moment. There's lots of little gems in the movie. There really are.
Yeah, like you could tell how like the foundation, the script's really good.
The script's pretty good.
But then they get motivated to go back to New York. Another good thing I like about the script is that like they go back to New York, but they don't they don't happen to get this great information that takes them to the warehouse, and then they have this big fight out with the Foot. They go back to New York, and they're just still like, well, we still don't know where Splinter is, so I guess we'll just hang out for a while. And in my mind, I remember Danny telling them, but Danny is a piece of shit. He never tells them where Splinter is. He just leaves in the middle of the night, and then Casey follows him to the warehouse. What did you guys think of
Alex,
all this?
I'm so glad you don't even got to throw it to nobody because I'm so glad that you said that because Danny is one of the first. I'm gonna kind of advance us a little bit. Because take this all the way into the final fight scene, because that's basically what it is. Danny is a piece of shit, as you mentioned. Doesn't say anything about Shredder. Knows where Shredder is. Doesn't talk to Shredder. I mean, to Shredder. No, I'm talking about Shredder.
Oh yeah,
they don't say where.
Right,
he doesn't say where Shredder is. He just is like, whatever. He doesn't talk to Splinter, and he's had conversations with Splinter. Yeah. He's hiding out at their apartment.
Yeah.
For free. and then they show up and then he don't even say, "Hey, are you Splinter's family?" Is like
right.
Doesn't even ask. Try to act like, "Oh, no, fuck that." This motherfucker gets up and leaves and goes to go hang out. Now, I thought, man, did he go? And is that how they find out where they are in the moment? Like, no, Danny doesn't tell Shredder anything either. He's just a complete piece of shit all over.
Yeah, he could
have helped. Yeah, he could have helped. I didn't even think about that either the whole time.
He doesn't help either side. He's just
so he steals like $10 from
from
April O'Neil.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the movie, he's like, "Hey, I owe you this." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Just trust me, I owe you this."
Right.
She won't even own up to be like, "I stole from you. I'm really sorry." Or
right,
whatever.
Yeah,
like that, but that's like his only even kind of arc in this is like that's the only way they say like, "Oh, he's changed a little bit." But he could have helped. He could have been like, "You guys, I got something to tell you, and it's really hard, but I joined the Foot Clan. I know where Splinter is. We can go get him." Like that would have been so much nicer for his character arc. Even to the very end, he's like, "I guess I'll just go gamble and smoke cigars tonight," and then like I don't know.
At the end,
man,
Shredder gets crushed in a trash compactor or whatever, but then he runs out to April, gives her back the $20 that he stole from her. Doesn't say, "Hey, I was in the Foot Clan. I stole this from you.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry." She goes, "What's this for?" He goes, "Trust me, I owe you." And then he runs over to his dad. So in this movie, the only people who know he was in the Foot Clan are the people going to jail, his dad, and Chief Stern, who was obviously in the Foot as well. Like, he suffers no consequences. No one actually suffers any consequences except for Shredder. And then retcon that to the second movie. No one suffers any consequences because he lives too.
I gotta say, they fight Shredder. It's a pretty cool fight. I mean, his helmet's gigantic. He looks like Darth Helmet from the Spaceballs movie, but it's a cool fight. But he falls in the trash compactor, and then very casually, Casey Jones is just like, "Oops," and like murders him.
You see his head gets crushed. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that's so crazy. I was like, "What the fuck?" It's like the only actual like death we see in the whole movie, pretty much. And it's, you think about it, that's a way to go. That is a brutal way to die. And
Yeah,
it's just like, whoops.
That's pretty rough.
Murder.
Yeah, but it's spoiler alert. The second movie, they like totally retcon that, and
Well,
they're
I
like,
knew he had to survive. Yeah, 'cause I knew
Shredder
they
didn't
were
die.
born.
But I'm like, no, there's no way you didn't. There's no way he lived through that. Like,
Oh man.
Right.
he was totally dead. Like, he crushed his body.
Yeah, like, and even more so to like, I guess to talk about the second movie or this movie's impact on the second movie. Like, a lot of parents were upset about like how violent this movie was, so like that's why the second movie was so scaled back. Like they made sure that even though they did a pretty good job of making sure these lethal weapons that the turtles were using weren't used in lethal ways. Like you see Leonardo trip up foot members with his swords and shit. But like they like actively took the weapons out of their hands in the second movie. Like had them like, it's like, oh, we're gonna have Mikey fight with sausages instead of nunchucks now. Like weird shit like that. But they ended up, up in the hand to hand fight choreography, in my opinion, in the second one too. But violence is violence. I don't know why that's the line that they drew. It's all very stupid.
Because people love placating to people's complaints, but it's like your movie made a bunch of money, so don't care about their complaints. Like this movie was good. Don't worry about what people think about it. Just keep making more movies until people stop going to see your movie.
Yeah, like adjusted for inflation, the movie was on a $13.5 million budget. It grossed $202 million worldwide. So yeah, they definitely made a lot. And it was the highest grossing independent film up to that time and the 9th highest grossing film worldwide of 1990. So it made a good chunk of change. And you could and we talked about it earlier, but let's talk about it a little bit now as we're like wrapping this up. Because as we mentioned, Shredder gets killed, everybody celebrates, cowabunga. That's pretty much the end of the movie. But yeah, like we see.
I made a funny.
We see the influence of this. By the way, Bossa Nova lives rent free in my head every single day. Like I don't know.
I've heard you say that word a few times before.
That Bossa Nova, Chevy Nova joke, for whatever reason, it just stuck with me forever.
Amazing. It's amazing.
I feel like I've heard you say that since college.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I've never ever known what it was from until watching that.
Nobody.
So what?
I want to point out, since you pointed that out, Alex, little things that we do. Shredder calls the little bandana that they wear.
Oh yeah.
The symbol is the dragon dochi.
Oh yeah, the dragon dochi.
And that's a nickname I've given myself for many years, Dragon Dochi, because I roll up a lot of marijuana and smoke it, and so I call myself the Grand Dragon Rolla Dochi.
Oh, nice.
You see?
Yeah, these are the things that stick with us forever.
That's right.
But yeah, I was curious. Oh God, what was I just about to say? Man, I lost it. Lost my thread.
Talking about Cowabunga, end of the movie. Living rent free in your head, Bossa Nova.
Nah, that wasn't it. But what did you guys like?
So you made yourself forget what you were saying.
Yeah, I did make myself forget because I just started thinking about other things.
So I talk about Bossa Nova, you just started saying random things for the movie.
But yeah, as we're wrapping up the story here, like, what did you guys think of just like the? Now I'm just trying to like make up shit so I can possibly remember what I was talking about.
Keep it going.
But yeah, like this movie did really, really well. At the end of each show, we do cast a vote, not necessarily on whether it's a good or bad film, but whether we enjoy it more or just as much as we did the first time we saw it.
No, but the question is.
Yeah, I was just about to pass it to you, Bill.
I mean, the question, because the question really is. The question is.
Yeah, the question is absolutely is.
Question.
Does it hold?
me crazy off in that. It'd be so off.
I will ask Noah first. Noah, the question is,
Does it hold
hold
Oh man, okay, look, I'll say this.
up?
I think the tone is awesome. I think it's shot beautifully. I think some of the fight scenes are really cool. I think there's some really great moments and scenes that are still pretty funny. I think the fight scenes sometimes could be better. Sometimes it's like just pictures of people flipping them around. But for me, I hate to say it, I don't think I was as into it now as I was growing up as a kid. I had trouble paying attention to this one. Sometimes I got a little bored, started to fall a little asleep, unfortunately. I don't think it holds up. I think it's a decent movie, especially for when it came out. I think for when it came out, it's awesome. I don't think it holds up today.
Yeah.
That's just me. I hate saying it. I really wanted to love it, but I was like, I'm having trouble. So I don't think it holds up, unfortunately. I think there's great parts. I love it. I think there's great parts. There's some really great parts. But I, as a whole movie, watching it, I just kept kind of being like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just couldn't hold me. Yeah.
That's fair. So I guess this leaves the question with you, Bill. Does it hold up?
That space between hold and up keeps getting longer and longer and longer.
I think everybody's just like waiting. Is like, what's the timing? but Bill, yeah, what's your answer?
Well, my answer is yes, it holds up. And I'll give you the reasons that it holds up. It's very, very good. Shout out to Noah doing the artwork for this show, and
Thank you.
very, very important. They're very good that it is a balance. It's balance because this is like a court of law.
Just like a court of law.
I drink and smoke weed in court all the time. Trust me, it's court.
They're surprisingly okay with it.
It's fine. It's a California thing. No, I'm joking. So look, it holds up because I don't think they could even do this movie. I don't think they could even do this movie today. And I don't mean in the sense that it's cringe. I mean in the sense that all of the movies, look at the evidence, all of the other movies have been terrible. I mean, this movie is better than all the other Ninja Turtle movies. And not to mention that it comes in a time that is very cringy. And in this movie, we weren't really like cringe the whole time. Like 90s movies especially are like, ugh, did he just say that? Like, we didn't hear an F word, and I'm not talking about fuck. You know what I'm saying? We didn't hear the N word, didn't hear, you know what I'm saying? I know it's a kid's movie, but we did hear damn, and we like, even Michelangelo said damn one time. He's like,
right.
Kung Fu kick the damn rabbit. Like when they're watching the turtle, the tortoise and the hare, and like the rabbit's like,
Ninja kick the damn rabbit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Ninja kick the damn rabbit. So it was still edgy, you know what I mean? In the comic book, this is a comic book movie, so the comic book was edgy and kind of silly. You know, it was serious and silly at the same time. So based on the source material, I would have to say that this does hold up. You know, considering that like they didn't go off the source material too bad. The animatronics look better than shit that we see today. To be honest, like the CGI that we see today, like I watched
practical effects are good. Yeah, I mean they're great practical effects. They are for sure.
So like I was like, I have to say this one holds up for me.
Yeah, just another.
We already talked about how great the performances were from the actors in the movie.
Yeah. The performances from the actors were good for sure, for sure.
And just to echo what you were saying, this is another reason why they probably won't do it nowadays. Is like how
is that just sweat?
Yeah, that's just sweat in the suit.
Oh my god, that's disgusting.
This is from this is just from a cosplayer from 2022. But
I think that they could do that today. look,
They could.
technology has gotten better, and things have gotten better, so they could do better suits. You know,
For
they
sure.
could make better materials. Like, so I think I'm halfway trying to just like get somebody motivated to make another turtle movie. Like, look, come on, man, can we get this? It would be so awesome. Take it back to the old school. We could get the lips going better. We can get the dialogue better. We can get everything better.
But I guess that.
But Alex,
yeah.
my question though for Alex is,
For me?
does it hold?
I purposely tried to hold that space. That's on me.
I think somebody purposefully does it every time.
Oh yeah.
No, I to your point, yeah. Well, I will.
You're the
First off-
tiebreaker of this.
First
Right?
of all, Alex. First. Does
it
it
hold?
Tell us, man.
I do feel like it holds up. After like, because there are things that
We need a dub. We need a dub of a crowd going, oh.
It's. I do feel like because I do feel like there are things that like is obviously dated. Like you can definitely see the seam where like the head piece meets the rest of the costume like in every single shot. Like it's they don't even try to hide it. And they're like, like we mentioned, like Casey Jones' character is like a little homophobic and it's just like that your typical 80s dude. But I still think that works with the character. But I still feel like like the story really holds up. Like the script is pretty tight. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's pretty short film. There's a lot of really great gems in dialogue. I don't know, I'm a dialogue nut. There's like a couple of lines that I wrote down here. Like there's a scene where they're getting attacked with axes in April's apartment, and Donnie and Mikey are like, "Good thing these guys aren't lumberjacks. The only thing that would be safe in the woods would be the trees." Like
Trees. The only thing that would be safe in the woods would be the trees.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty
I don't
good
know
line.
why. I just really liked that line. Like there's a bunch of like
no,
really.
I love it. Look, I may be just nostalgic at this moment, but absolutely right.
Good line. It's a good
We
line.
were actually eating pork rinds while we were watching it. Alex brought out some pork rinds while we were watching it, and he
Right,
goes,
pork
rinds? Pork rinds.
Ryan.
Like, it's great. It's great. They, like you said, very
Give us some more
well-written
lines.
script.
I want another line you wrote down. What was another line you wrote down?
Oh, another line. Oh shit. Well, like this is just another like funny moment where at the end, Danny meets up with his dad, and he says, "Danny, are you okay? Are you okay, Danny?" And I just thought of like the fucking Danny, are you okay? Are you okay, Danny?
He didn't say it like that. He did not say it like that.
He did not say it like he didn't say it like
Danny,
Tracy
are you
Morgan.
okay? Are you okay, Danny?
You've been hit by. You've been struck by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Never mind, didn't work.
And I also really
Also,
like.
I just want to point out like that. I just want to point out that Leonardo cuts people and with his swords, and people's legs don't fall off. I don't understand how that works, but
Right.
okay.
Make sure they're really dull.
That's just for the people who have been watching till the end.
And also like the just like the back and forth with the pizza delivery guy. That's another line that just like lives rent free in my head. Is like wise man once said, "Forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza."
Yeah. Good line. Good line.
I liked all that. And yeah, like it's just like you really appreciate at least I appreciate as an adult all the stuff that went into the puppetry and like how there's a guy who's moving the mouth, but then there's another guy who's controlling the body. So they have to really be in sync and like lockstep, and there really isn't room for a lot of improvisation. So the chemistry between the turtles is like, I appreciate that much more. It's like, oh, everything had to be really well choreographed and orchestrated in like a 7-week shooting schedule. So like all that taken into account is like the fact that they were able to make a like this movie, in my opinion, is like really fucking well done, considering just like
They
the
shouldn't have been
technology.
able to make this movie. They should not have been able to make this movie with the budget that they had and the time that they had to do it in. They should not have been able to make this movie. And I mean, it should not. I mean, it shouldn't have been able to be this good. Is what I should say.
Right.
It should have totally flopped. It should have totally bombed. It should have been the just like knowing what I know about it now. It's just like the martial arts should have been terrible, but it wasn't.
Oh man,
it was like it was. It was
that part
better
alone
than,
is really impressive. Them in those suits doing the martial
Yeah.
arts is really impressive.
Yeah, there's
They
a
look good.
that
The
part
fights
alone.
look pretty good.
Yeah, there's a clip like in behind the scenes where one of the actors is like talking about how hard it is, and he's like, I love this job, it's a great opportunity and all this stuff is like, but it is a little hard on the 8th hour of acting, and it's hard to stay light on your feet with all these stunts when your suit is literally like 15, 20 pounds heavier because it's soaked full of sweat.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
God damn. And I'm sure, like with the way technology is advanced, there's a way to do those kinds of costumes and practical effects without it being such an arduous task. But producers nowadays, like I saw this interview with Seth Rogen, he's like, producers see that other technology that's not CGI as antiquated and old timey and cheap looking, despite the fact that we have the money and technology to make it look incredible now, even because it looked incredible then.
Yeah.
But
to your point about that, the technology, we could get a better movie. We could do this and it'd be better because the reason there's latency on some of those dialogue scenes is because it depends on how close they are to the actor with the animatronics. It's going to have a delay because it has to still send the signal. So so it would be better today because we would have better. We got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
For sure.
Like
I was surprised that they had that in 88 or whatever year that they were actually filming this movie.
Yeah.
But no, is there anything that you want to promote before we get out of here, Larry? Where can the people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at IDon'tKnowa. I also on my website, IDon'tKnowa.com, or even IKnowADude.com. They all lead to the same site, IKnowADude.com. I'm also streaming on Twitch on Saturday and Sundays. I'm streaming Grounded a few times under the name Mr. Whimsy. It's a name I've been using for a little bit now, but it's been a good time, so you can find me on those places.
I love all of those names, I just have to say.
Thanks, yeah. It's been hours, days.
We're going to be talking about the rest of the TMNT trilogy coming out, leading up to the release of the new animated movie. Hopefully, you'll want to come back and talk some more Ninja Turtles with us.
For sure, dude, for sure.
that's right. So if you like this show,
Chevy Nova?
if you like this episode, and if you've been watching this long, please subscribe. Please like. We do this. We hopefully continue to do this without a sponsor. So please give us all the love, all the likes. Make a comment. What movie do you want us to see if it holds up? We're going to be doing other movies. We're going to be doing the rest of this series, and we're going to be doing movies like Three Ninjas. We're going to be doing Hook. We're gonna be doing
that's a good one.
Terminator. We're gonna be doing all these other movies. So many movies on the list. So
Hook holds up.
let us know, what movie do you want us to?
You know what?
He's like, spoiler alert.
You know what? I'm sorry. I have to do this just to rewind a little bit because you saying that reminded me what I wanted to talk about earlier. Just really quickly, I want to touch on just like the influence that this movie had on the 90s because like we are going to eventually talk about this more in subsequent movies, like when we talk about Three Ninjas and Surf Ninjas, but this had a huge ninja impact on the early 90s. Like, and they kind of
started that?
Yeah, I feel like they got the wrong idea from it too because Mikey has a couple of surfer dude movie moments, but then watch Three Ninjas and Surf Ninjas, like everybody's like a cowabunga, dude. Like everybody's like super surfy. There's all these ninjas. It's like a huge influence on teenage ninjas in the early 90s.
Double Dragon,
Right.
like all those
Is this-
movies. Like it was.
Did this come out after or before Karate Kid?
After.
It came out after Karate Kid. That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Karate Kid wasn't a ninja though. It's not martial arts. That like yes, the thing was, the United States has always had a fascination since the 70s, 60s with kung fu. So, kung fu movies, I should say, like, you know, so
Right.
definitely we have but the ninja thing is a thing that started like after the Turtle movie came out, because it's not a fascination. I don't think. I think it's just because studios are lazy. You know, they're like, oh yeah, give me one of them ninja movies while I smoke my cigar. You know, give me one of those ninja movies, baby. And you know, just call it whatever you want to call it.
Just to. A wave of ninja themed movies. Ninja themed movies and television shows during early to mid '80s started to become very popular, especially those starring Sho Kosugi, led by the Ninja Mania, becoming a pop culture phenomenon across North America. So yeah, in the mid to late '80s, that's when like ninjas first started becoming really popular in the Western world, and I feel like it really culminated with this movie because you see the surfer teenage ninja influence specifically with a lot of the movies that came out after this. And we'll be talking about all of those movies on this show coming up eventually. But I just want to talk about that real quick.
No, it's a good thing to bring up. It's a good thing. It's cool. That's interesting.
But guys, it's about that time. Thanks for watching. We do this every once in a while, so go ahead and leave a like and subscribe so you can get updates on new videos. Check us out on Twitter, IG, TikTok, Spotify, iTunes, Letterboxd, likewise, all the internet things at The Drunk Banthas. Until next time, stay safe, my little pork rinds, and may the force be with you.